I never record these. I always do them, but the reviews I record. Okay. So officially we've got 33 in here. So we're about at that 60%, 66% mark I like to try to hit. All right. So officially this week is DBA week. Tomorrow from 8 to 11, and then 9 to 11 on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, you can come and take your discussion-based assessment. When you come to class on Thursday morning, we'll do a little bit of review, and then I'll probably take a couple that morning as well. You need to come Thursday morning to at least get your attendance in, though. The review today will be posted. So if for any reason between now and the time you come take your DBA, you want to review and look at the review, please do so. This is the only week to take this DBA at Friday at 11. The window closes. Please don't wait until 10:45 on Friday to take your DBA. All right. So before we talk about DBA review, I want to talk about STLP, the Student Technology Leadership Program. If you don't know what it is, let me tell you. So technology is something we're using every day. You're on a computer right now. So I know you're using some technology every day. What we're wanting to be able to do is anything you make, anything you make for a class that you would like to enter into competitions or just need help with making. That's what STLP is here for. You can come here and find out more about how to do anything that you want to do using technology. So if you go look at the STLP for students, it's going to bring you to a little video, and this video literally tells you about 15, 20 different projects, things you can do, make a movie, make an animation, make art, write a story. And I mean, there's all kinds of great stuff that you can do. Publish your own book. There's instructions for publishing your own book in here. There is a little calendar of events, if you will, or the schedule for the different with big group activities every other Monday. Well, first and third Monday of the month, starting on October 4th. So next Monday, all week we're going to be joining. Monday we're going to kick off. You can take art, animation, film. You can do Minecraft lessons. Plus, if we go to the explore all there is the STLP, you can come and see all the things that you all can do. We're going to be doing coding lessons that you can do asynchronously. If you want to learn how to code something and learn how coding works, it goes all the way up through. Now, they're listed by grades, but really, if you would like to participate in coding, we'll have a one-on-one conversation, kind of see maybe where it's better to enter for you. You might be really advanced and you may not need, the parts of some of it. You might be able to kind of come in somewhere else. So these are kind of set up those like a little stepping stone that gets you up to Python and Java. Down here, you're going to find tons of things that you can do, applications and programs that you can use, and you can get help with from me with if you want to create just about anything for a class, for a lesson, or just for fun. Again, we'll have sort of clubs, if you will, an art club, an animation, a storyboarding, and film, and a Minecraft. So there's really like 4 kind of clubs that go on, plus the big group club where in big groups you all can overcome and accomplish some cool things. You can take art and animation, storyboarding, and film, do the coding thing. You can do any of those without participating in the every other Monday big group things, and without ever having to participate in the big group stuff. So there's something for everybody. If you want to participate with others, join and do some cool group stuff, we got you covered. You want to do some individual stuff, you just want to make some art, you want to make a movie, whatever you want to do, let me know. We're going to hook you up. That's STLP. Okay. Get rid of that one. Make this one big. All right. So the review, what's on here and all this stuff today. So today, once the video is created, it'll be posted here, the review video, and when it says submit DBA, the button will be on tomorrow at 8 a.m. So the moment you get done taking your first DBA, whoever gets in, you can submit it then. Again, you'll see highlighted in yellow and red. If it's yellow and red, you know it's important. You must attend the DBA by 11 a.m. Friday, October 1st. And I pause for effect. Please understand that Friday at 11 a.m. the DBA closes. And the reason I keep emphasizing this is because so many of the things that we have dates for in VLA are suggestive. This one is a hardcore cemented date. I can't keep these DBAs open indefinitely. Notice I'm also saying that in addition to the 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Tuesday through Thursday, also tomorrow 8 a.m. until 9 if you want to, because that's your all support time for that. And also Friday 8 a.m. 8 to 9 a.m. because that's also your support time. Simply come to my classroom when you're ready to take your DBA. You're simply going to come to my classroom, click the link just like you're coming to class. You and I are going to have a discussion. It won't take very long. Either you're going to know the answers to the questions I'm answering and are asking, and we're going to have a quick conversation. And I'm going to know what that you've paid attention and that you've studied the content, and you get 100%. Or you won't know, and I'm going to say you got a 0. But go back, look at the review information, and come right back. When you come right back, you're going to know that information, and then you get 100%. You see how this works. You're either going to get 100% because you had to keep going back, or because you came in that first time. And the reason I say that is because I don't want you to come in the DBA and not know. It's just wasting your time. I'm just going to tell you to go right back out, look at the review, and come back. So check out the review. If you don't know the answers to the questions we're going to look at in just a second, find them. Have this sheet in front of you. Is it a cheat sheet? If you want to call it a cheat sheet, you can. I have a big belief that if you simply write down things, your brain locks those in your brain. If you have a conversation and you have to recall those things, or even just read them off a page, it's going to lock things in your brain. So also recognize I can't see what's going on in your house. Half of you don't have cameras on most times. Now, the other thing is you will have to have your camera on when we do our DBA. This is just to verify that I'm talking to you and not somebody else who's taking your test in your stead. But that is the note sheets or something you can use. All right. Oh, also, I'll post the hold on a second. I thought I already did that. Do that right now. Hold on one second. I'm going to post this sheet right now so that you can go back and fill it out. Oh, nope. One. I need binoculars. I don't know if y'all can see how tiny my text is today, but Lord have mercy. I think this is the updated one. Okay, yeah, it's on here. So the link is on here. Just making sure it's on here, right? Yeah. So in the review is where you're going to find these review questions, okay? And so we're going to take a look today. Just make sure this brings up the right one. There we go. The curriculum we're covering, if you've been hanging with us since the beginning, and if you haven't, the first few lessons, I know a few of you are kind of new to class. The first few lessons are mostly process oriented, where you're learning how to turn things in. So you really need to kind of go back and do those. Plus, you'll have to do that for your grade. You'll do fine. Yeah, you'll either know the information. I mean, the questions are gonna be really simple, and I'm a really easy person to talk to. Yeah, this is pretty much all the questions there, and enough to kind of give you a roundabout understanding of what I'm going to be talking about, what we're going to ask about. You're going to have to talk. But it's just me and you in a breakout room. And so, Gabrielle, this is going to be posted also for you to go back and look. And so, yeah, and we're going to have a conversation one-on-one, but I promise you, it's going to be super simple and easy and painless. I am the easiest teacher to get along with when it comes to, I have test anxiety. So if you have test anxiety, I got you. I'm not gonna make it difficult. We are going to cover though, just so you kind of understand what we're going to cover. Again, you can kind of see a lot of this the first few weeks about understanding how you could submit work. And so I'm probably going to ask you just a little bit about that, and you're going to see those on the review questions. We're going to be looking at Faith Ringgold and narrative artwork, that sort of thing. We're going to be looking at abstraction a little bit, but we're also going to be studying mostly looking at Liechtenstein with the abstraction, and Edgar Degas and his contributions. And so we're looking at how they use line, shape, color, text, the basic elements, and so forth. So just kind of a basic understanding of how they. I got Ooga Shaka as my ringtone here. All right. Where's my presentation? Oh, it's up here. Used to using PowerPoint. All right, the 7th grade DBA. Again, this is posted. This is posted up there. And the review video we're going to go over this is posted. It's going to be posted also. But this whole PowerPoint or whatever the slide, Google Slides presentation is posted for you to go over. It has the questions and the answers built in. So I can't make it any easier for you. And so these are the questions that I'm going to be asking about. First of all, let's go to the first part. Your DBA is a live and actual conversation with me, Mr. Mcguire. You'll be asked a few questions about content from this review. If you do not know it, you'll be given a 0 and asked to review the content and come try again. When you can answer the questions I ask, you'll be given 100%. Yay! Content is simple and straightforward. You simply need to have a conversational understanding of the information in this review. And conversational understanding is, hey, what do you think about this? And you go, oh, well, how did that affect that? And you go, oh, that's how it affected that. That sort of thing. You may come to take your DBA between the hours of 9 a.m. and 11 a.m., Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. I also, if you remember, added the 8 to 9 for your all support days on Tuesday and Friday. Please make sure you come on Thursday because we got to do attendance as normal. The DBA window will close on October 1st at 11 a.m. That's Friday, 11 a.m. Boom, hard close date. Locks the door. Please do not wait until 10:45 on Friday to come take your DBA. You must come and take your DBA in person before 11 a.m. on Friday. Do not wait until the last minute. All right, everybody's a comedian. I was going to tell you. All right, next slide. Oh, well, too far. So these are the questions that we're going to be answering today. What type of artwork is Faith Ringgold most famous for? You're going to get the answer to that in just a moment. What era was she born during? We're going to find that out in just a moment. If you don't already know, but you should already know all this. What was her profession before she became an artist? I love it. Yeah, you guys know these answers in the. I love it that the chat is proving that this is a waste of time. You know all this stuff. What was her profession before she became an artist? What do we call an art that tells a story or art that tells a story? What type of artist was Roy Lichtenstein? What art movement influenced Roy's work? What was the most basic element of art? What style of art was Degas known for? How do artists create rhythm in a work of art? What do we call drawings that capture a movement or a moment in time? Yeah. All right. I love my chat. You guys are doing it. All right. What do we call lines that follow the outside edge of a shape? And what are the file types that you can submit for your art assignments? So that one kind of goes back to that first. So Faith Ringgold, she was an American painter, writer, mixed media sculptor, performance artist, best known for her narrative quilts. Narrative art is art that tells a story. And so, yes, she was a teacher, absolutely. We're going to look at a piece of her work right here. This is Tar Beach. No, it's not. Sorry. Tar Beach is the book, but I don't think that is Tar. I think maybe it is Tar Beach. In any event, she did a lot of these different quilt stories where she talked about being a kid. She grew up during the Harlem Renaissance in New York. Renaissance means rebirth, and in Harlem it was about the rebirth of the arts. I mean, everything from music, dance, poetry, visual arts. Some of the most famous musicians, dancers came out during that period. I mean, it was revolutionary. Faith was a teacher before she became an artist. A lot of you knew that one. She championed the rights of women and people of color. She's known for her story quilts that often deal with growing up in a racist society and her life in Harlem. And art that tells a story, again, is that narrative art. And Specifically, she talked about when she was a kid, what it was like, the sights, the sounds of New York and that area and that era. And so she has lots of the way she used those. If you want to talk about the elements of art, she used lots of geometric shape because she created lots of buildings, and she simplified stuff. She used abstraction because everything was simplified. She's making quilts, and so a lot of her stuff used abstraction, lots of geometric shapes with the buildings, organic shapes with the people. She was big on doing these sort of I think they're kind of surreal because a lot of people were flying. She would, it was all, they dreamlike qualities. She would often talk about what kind of happened in their dreams and so forth through her work. Roy Lichtenstein, he was the next artist that we looked at, and Roy was the American pop artist. What kind of artist was he? He was a pop artist. During the 1960s, along with Warhol, Jasper Johns, Rosenquist, amongst others, he became a leading movement, a figure, I should say, in this movement. And his work kind of influenced dozens of famous artists that came after that were inspired by these graphic novels and type of works of art, in addition to some of his earlier sort of Cubist stuff. His early work was heavily influenced by the Cubists, specifically Picasso, Duchamp, these guys who were doing some really cool, interesting stuff. And that's kind of the piece we're looking at here on the right, sort of reflective. And during that time, he's definitely using abstraction. When we talked about abstraction art, he's got lots of simplified shapes. This one is sort of broaches that non-objective. It's gone so abstract that we can't even really identify what the subject matter was. But we're going to see that the way he uses line, pattern, texture, sort of in these works of art is consistent, even as his style sort of changes. So he goes from this cubist to this graphic design, but we still see the bold use of line that creates these contour lines, simplified shape, simplified color, use of pattern. He's creating lots of dots very often to create the value in these works. He made bold use of line. Later works are oriented towards graphic novel images. These made use of contour lines and often pattern. Simplified colors. Remember, he worked a lot in those primary and secondary colors. One of the main things we studied about Roy was his interior spaces. He had a whole series of these interiors, the interior series, and they demonstrate that single point perspective that we talked about, the idea that things going back in space converge to a single point off on the horizon line. Still use that simplified color, still use of that pattern. We see the lines, the dots that all create, and he uses pattern to substitute for color. It's a technique used by illustrators, particularly in the 50s, 60s, and 40s and 30s even, but they didn't have a lot of color printing choices. So pattern and textures became substitute for color. Edgar Degas. He was an impressionist. He's a master gesture drawer, master of gesture drawing. Gesture drawing captures a moment or a movement. And so if we look at those pieces on the right, he's trying to capture the movement of those dancers. On the bottom left, sort of that moment in time where we've got this person sort of sitting solemnly, and he's captured not just in the expression of the face, but in the form, the gesture of the way she sits there, and even the guy next to her, how we can see the sort of this different sort of energy than we get from maybe the one on the bottom right, where the dancers are in these very upright poses and there's a certain energy that kind of changes with it. But those gesture drawings capture a moment in time, capture some type of movement, kind of like a little snapshot of what's going on. His work focused on light. He made good use of rhythm when we get a repeated element, like these dancers are repeated over and over again, even if they're not exactly the same. That repetition helps create that rhythm. So repeating that repetition is what creates that rhythm. And guys, give me 1 second here. I'm taking roll real quick. Maybe this. And save. Goodness, this is such a big class. You have to excuse me. It takes 3 screenshots to get everybody in. All right. All right, I think I've got everybody saved. There we go. Okay, so again, by repeating those images, the dancers, that repeated imagery, repeating those elements is what creates rhythm. Okay. Degas made great use of line, shape, and space. He creates depth in his work. Again, on a more realistic sort of interpretation, we see that use of single point perspective, just like we saw in Liechtenstein, but we see it working a little differently. No, not working differently, but represented a little differently. His spaces become large geometric shapes onto which he adds those organic forms of the dancers. Again, sort of similar to what Faith Ringgold did. She had these large geometric spaces on which she had those organic images. All right, so those are the answers to the questions. There are two forms of file that you can submit for your artwork: JPEG and PNG. So let's take a look back here and make sure everybody knows the answers to these questions. What type of artwork is Faith most famous for? Put it in the chat. Let's make sure you know. What did she do? Yeah. All right. When was she born? She's famous for quilts, story quilts, specifically narrative art story quilts. What era was she born? What was it called? No, it wasn't called the 20th century. Harlem Renaissance. Yes. Harlem Renaissance. Don't just put 20th century. Harlem Renaissance. Listen, Journey, you can write it all down, but this PowerPoint is available. You can click it. So no one needs to be writing feverishly right now. We're going to be done here with this review in just a few minutes, and you can take all afternoon to take your time, write down. You can kind of see what kind of questions I'm going to ask. You can start thinking about, what you could formulate for, an answer that really shows that you know everything about it. Let's see, what was her profession before being an artist? Teacher. That's right. She's a teacher. That's correct. What do we call art that tells a story? What kind of art is that? Narrative art. Narrative. So story quilts are narrative art. So the type of art is narrative art, but yeah, good. What type of artist was Roy? Roy Lichtenstein, what was he? Pop. That's right, pop artist. Pop stands for popular, like popular culture, pop art. And so pop reflected on what was popular at the time, or what was big in the mainstream. And so, and what's interesting is Roy's pop art was a little different. He really made it his own. Andy Warhol was kind of one of the seminal characters, and he in this movement, and he would definitely create all his art reflecting of popular culture things like Marilyn Monroe, soup cans, things that everybody was familiar with because they were in the general lexicon. We all knew the things that he was talking about, and we were familiar with. 680 from Tunis. Looking for a foundation that can multitask as well as you. My what does it do? More like, what doesn't it do? Alexa has just started on her own. Go to sleep, Alexa. All right. All right. So any event, give me 1 second. Let me turn that off. I apologize. 97% of women found their perfect shade. It's obvious when Alexa wasn't very helpful today, so sorry. But Roy's pop art was a little different because while his was in the same style and looked like pop art, it was very original. It was really from his own mind. It was really cool. What art movement influenced his work? Particularly early on, the Cubist is the answer I'm going to look for. But you could also know a little bit about Piet Mondrian. kind of influenced him a little bit, and he wasn't a cubist. He was part of a really weird small little group of artists. And we see lots of different artist influence. But I don't want to go with cubists. I don't want to convolute things middle of the review here. Cubists is who influenced it early. That's correct. Most basic element of art. That's line. Cubist. It's cubist. Style of art was the Degas was a, what was Degas? What style of art? No, he did gesture drawings, but that's not the style of art. He was an impressionist. Remember, impressionists looked to capture that moment in time or something, but they were looking to capture a light. When they painted outside, like Monet, you may have seen, he would paint the same thing over and over again just to capture what the light looked like at different times. Almost like gesture drawings focused on light, the things that didn't move. But they really focused on showing the what we call aerial perspective of things. But for Degas, it was all about that gesture. He's an impressionist, but he's all about that gesture. How do artists create rhythm? Repeating an element over and over again causes repetition, or causes rhythm, excuse me. Drawings that capture a movement or a moment in time. We've answered that one about 6 times. What is it? Close enough. Gesture. Gesture. Yep. Lines that go on the outside. Does anybody remember what those are? Follow the outside. Did I put this one in the contour lines? Contour. I'm gonna put that in the chat because I just want to make sure. That might be one of those. I'm gonna contour lines. Follow the outside edge. It's in the, so you can see how I spell that. C-O-N-T-O-U-R. If you want to write that one down. I don't know that I had that specific word in that review. Then I'll look back. I might have. What are the types of files you can submit? What are they? There's 2. Well, most of y'all know this because I've only gotten a couple of boogered up ones. Yeah. PNG and JPG or JPEG. All right. Yeah. So just a quick, before we sum up. Starting tomorrow. Tomorrow it's 8 to 11 essentially. On Wednesday, 9 to 11. On Thursday, come to your 8 o'clock meeting. Even if you've already taken your DBA, you got to come and let me do attendance. You got to be in there for attendance purposes. Then to 11 o'clock on Thursday. Friday, from 8 a.m. until 11, and then it's over. At 11 a.m., I have to close that window. Please do not wait until 10:45. Please come early. Okay. Have a great day, guys. Thank you all for playing. I look forward to seeing you in DBA. All right, let me stop recording.